All right, we are back here. Pop culture time on the podcast here. Another fun show is returned. Season three of The White Lotus debuted on Sunday night on HBO. And joining me today to break it all down, big Mike White enthusiast and fan of the show. One of our pop culture guys, Alan Ross, is back with us. Alan, how are you?
Mike, my first appearance in years face to face with you, so I'm very excited.
Yes, we got Alan on the video today. So, like, you got the technology working again.
Yes, yes. So very happy to talk to you, see your reactions, and really get a sense of how you feel about White Lotus season three, episode one.
Yes, a lot of fun here for sure. And I also will mention here, shout out to our pop culture correspondent Sam DeRosa, who she did challenge me and you to sing the White Lotus theme song live, but I don't think we're doing that today.
No shot. It's also new. I've heard it once, so yeah, I'm not gonna be able to do
She wanted the season two version. Like,
That was a solid, solid theme song. This
yeah,
one's a lot more bubbly and not very in. Like I'm sure it'll play into because I'm sure the images with every character's name in the opening credits matter, and
yeah.
we'll get to that. But the song doesn't necessarily seem like it fits White Lotus, but I'm sure by the end it totally will.
It's funny because my DVR I think actually recorded the season two premiere instead of the season three premiere, so I had to go back and watch it again. And like I saw the season two things, I'm like, oh, like this does kind of like slap when you go back and listen to it.
It does.
Yeah. Yeah, so what's going on here? We got some season three coverage here with the White Lotus here. For the uninitiated, Alan, you want to tell people what a White Lotus is and why you should watch it.
So White Lotus, we're not going to get into the deep meaning of the significance of the name. So for all intents and purposes, it's the name of the chain of resorts around the world where every time we tune in, there's a murder happening.
Yeah.
And then we flash back a week to kind of see how the chess pieces play out on the board. So we're doing that once again. That's what the first episode of this season sets up. It's a high intensity, character driven comedy thriller, if you will, from former Survivor runner up Mike White, who has made a fine career for himself and has a long litany of comedic actors he's close with that he brings on in dramatic roles to team them with, famous thespians, if you will. And it just makes for a nice cauldron of real fun viewing for an audience member.
Yeah, I also add here a lot of satire and some political commentary about like, various themes. I think season one was a lot about money. Season two was like a thing of sexual dynamics, and season three feel like we have some religious vibes sort of built in here, spirituality with the Thailand setting here, and I'm ready to let the Survivor angle up because I know Mike White has said publicly that like his time on Survivor inspired him to come up with the White Lotus, which is a pretty like unique fun fact.
Very unique, very unique. Yeah, it's a lot of high class white people who aren't happy with all the material things they have, trying to find themselves or find some layer of happiness. And there's a little cameo right now from Little Alan Austin, but I apologize for that. But yeah, there's a lot of satire, as you're saying, and just real deep dive into the psyche of people you might know next door to you and how they are when they're in a different land in a different mindset.
Yeah, I'll also add here is like I think in terms of mentioning the characters here, this is sort of like an anthology show where like you'll get maybe one or two characters crossing over to season to season. As we learn, surprise, surprise, one character's been in all three seasons, but like Mike White basically said when he made the show, is like, you know what? It would not make sense if the same exact group of people got together at the same locations every single time we did this show. So like maybe one of them pops up, maybe like one's on vacation, maybe one's going on a work state, like work transfer thing, but like this is all new people. It gives new people like room to play in the Mike White space.
And the one who does cross over into the third season from the other two is the most intriguing character to do so, because you would think almost that storyline
Was
is
done.
the entire show's main storyline,
Yeah.
right? Regardless of the pieces that come into play, that's the through line from the three seasons. That's the connective tissue. And quite frankly, when that character pops up, I don't think there's a single audience member that was A, disappointed, or B, like just shocked. I mean, is it shocking to see him?
No.
Yes. But well, right in the first episode, maybe. But in general, no, it's not shocking. And when you see him already, you're like, let's hit the ground running. Let's go. Because his arc
He's
is
up.
not closed.
Yeah, he's up to something.
He's up to something. He is the fact that he's at the same resort where every all the we might are we just gonna say who it is or are we
Yeah,
not?
we can say who it is. We can say
It's
that.
Greg. It's
Yeah,
Greg.
yeah. Greg was, and this is not like with the season where we were told, oh, like Natasha Rothwell's coming back as Belinda. She's on an exchange program with the other White Lotus. Like we didn't know that John Green's coming back as Greg. So that was a big surprise to us in the real time watching the show. And like he's sort of like we've learned that like he remember we've seen in season one that he's like meets Tanya and claims I'm dying of cancer, and then he marries Tanya, and then he probably hired somebody to kill her in season two to claim her money, and now he's with a new woman in season three, living near the White Lotus Hotel in Thailand, and basically eating dinner every night.
Presumably with her money that he got from the death. So, unless he didn't. Am I mistaking that he wanted the money from
Tanya.
her insurance,
Yeah,
right? Like from her inheritance. Okay, so then he probably has it.
yeah,
So he is a bad guy, that's for sure. And he is up to something. And at one point, Belinda's gonna see him.
yes,
Like she is going to know for sure who he is.
yeah. We
Like,
saw that in the Super Tease.
oh, I missed the super tease.
It was,
So
yeah, it was after the credits. It was like they did a Super Tease where Belinda sees him, and it's also important to know he's going by Gary now. So like he is using an alias with this new woman.
did the super tease do what shows do like this season on? Was it that sort of thing, or was it like a post credit Marvel type scene?
It was like sort of like a this season on without the this season on. It was they gave you a bunch of different scenes that you knew were all not going to be next week.
Okay, okay. So theoretically, I didn't miss anything.
No,
Uh, okay, good to know.
yeah, so you're probably better off like you're like not as spoiled on what's coming.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think I think I'm gonna skip that this season on just so that every week seems so like I don't know what to anticipate besides what we saw in the first full trailer, which didn't give away a lot at all. Every time you think something's giving stuff away in those trailers for White Lotus, not even half of it. So we're set.
You're definitely set here, and a lot of stuff going on here. I feel like Mike White very ambitious. I feel like we're juggling like five different storylines in this season already. So like that's without even Greg's storyline. So I feel like we got a lot. He's got a lot of it looks like long episode runtimes here from this season.
Yeah, I mean we've got we talked about this before going on air, making sure we get the character names. So we'll start with the three childhood friend girls, Kate, Lori, and Jacqueline, who is a television star. They're kind of going on a girls' trip where clearly they were friends as kids, but now they've grown apart, even though they're putting on this front that they're all still BFFs with no issues. You've got my favorite little mini storyline so far, and it's as I've been on the show before. I've talked about my love since 1997 or 8 when Major League 3 Back to the Minors came out. But I'm a huge Walt Goggins fan. He's one of my favorite actors. So obviously, if he's showing up, I'm going to naturally, you know, gravitate towards his character Rick and his girlfriend Chelsea, who may just steal the season for the general public, played by Amy Lou Wood. Then you've got another. So the third storyline is now Amy Lou Wood connected, which would be Chelsea, connected to, and I didn't get the character's name, the woman at the bar who's dating Gary slash Greg. So that's a third storyline,
That's
which ties.
that's Chloe.
Okay, so Chloe ties in with Chelsea and Greg. That's third storyline. Fourth is the Ratliff family,
Oh, boy.
played with
They're fun.
with varying levels of North Carolina accents by Jason Isaacs, Parker Posey, Patrick Schwarzenegger, who I mean, it's a spitting image of his father at this
Yeah.
point. Like, besides the muscles, face wise, he's exactly the same guy, and he's the older brother. Then you've got
The sister who's right becoming a Buddhist.
the sister who is she's writing her thesis. Sarah Catherine Hook is Piper, And then you've got the youngest brother, Sam Nivola, as Lachlan, of course, son of Alessandro Nivola, great character actor. So you've got them and their interesting stories. So that's four. Then
Belinda.
you got Belinda. That's five. Then you've got the hotel staff, who
I
there's
would
a
say
security
primarily,
guard.
yeah, it says security guard and that, and like the hostess, probably the two primary people in there.
Yes, I believe their names were Guy Tak and Mook. I pronounce it. I know Mook is correct. I apologize if the pronunciation of Guy Tak is incorrect, but that's six. And then there's just going to be more and more popping up. So we've got six main storylines that we're dealing with here.
Yeah,
And we know Belinda's son from the cold open is coming.
yeah, Belinda. I recognized him from I want to say Bel Air is where I recognize him from. He plays Drew in Bel Air.
Okay, okay. So yeah, so we got a lot of, I referenced before, chess pieces on the board, and the opening scene murder implied a lot of guns. So
Yeah.
not necessarily sure it's a lot of guns, but there were certainly a lot of gunshots, and a body floats towards Belinda's son. There may or may not be more than one murder. The intrigue is high.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think for sure, I think I'll also reference here. I think like in terms of the guns, like the Super T shows, like they definitely tease you out, like, oh, like at least like four different characters are shown with guns. So like they're giving you a lot of ways you could go with like who is the killer and like who's getting in this firefight.
That, that's very true. And I have a few predictions, which we'll get into at the end here.
Yeah. Let's go into some of these storylines real quick here. We'll start with the Kate, Lori, and Jacqueline trio. Michelle Monaghan, Carrie Coon, and Leslie Bibb playing those three characters here. The girls' trip here. We don't get much of them. We see that like Carrie Coon's character loves the monkeys. We see
Mm-hmm.
that like they have the dinner scene where like one learns like, oh, we got like, like we grown apart, one's divorced, one's like trying to live vicariously through Jacqueline, like this feels like to me, like you could tell, like especially the end we see Carrie who's breaking off, and, like crying when she's away from them. That like they were learning a lot about those two over the course of the trip.
Yeah, it definitely feels like Leslie Bibb is more infatuated with Michelle Monaghan. Likes the lifestyle she lives, is comparable. They talk about having plastic surgery, similar themes. But I wouldn't be surprised if we find out that Leslie Bibb's character can't stand like that kind of a twist, where she really likes Carrie Coon better, or just something like that, or. But I just want to say, Carrie Coon playing so against her usual type here. I love to see it. She's a phenomenal actress. And I had one friend of mine theorize that uh, Portia from season two is her daughter.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah, so we'll see if that comes to fruition. But even if it doesn't, this is a really great dynamic. All three are, we take character actresses for granted, but all three are just really solid actresses, and like I'm really, really invested in that storyline. I don't think the death of the season will come at their expense, but I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Carrie Coon's character spirals a bit, and maybe she commits a murder, even if it's not of one of her friends. We'll see. I don't know. It's fun to guess these things, Mike.
Yeah, all I think this ends up, I think they're gonna like basically their friends are gonna blow up over the course of this trip. That's my hunch.
I agree with you. I don't think the murder plot will revolve around them. I think, that's a great, I'm sure Mike White has seen a lot of, friendships as he gets older. People distance themselves, but try to cling on to that thing that connected them in the first place. People just grow apart after a while. And that seems like the storyline there. And, it's three great actresses. So I'm on board.
Yep. Let's now go to the Rick and Chelsea starring off Walton Goggins and Amy Lou Wood. And Walton Goggins, you see on the boat, basically gets into like an argument with Jason Isaac's character. Like we don't hear what the argument's about, but like they get into several spats at the hotel throughout the day, and we see that like Rick is trying to connect with the owner of the hotel, Shri Tala, her husband. We haven't seen on screen yet, Jim Hollinger, played by Scott Glenn. So like the play, like he seems to be there to go meet the hotel owner's husband, and Amy Lee Wood's character Chelsea basically is there trying to like like, oh, like you're not fun, let's have fun. So like she's like kind of like giving this energy. It's just annoying like Walton Goggins, but like he has to deal with it because like she's there on the trip with him.
So hot prediction there. They're going to be the characters we quote unquote root for at the end.
Yeah.
I even like, I'm just going to challenge you a bit to say she's like, oh, you're annoying. I would say she's just a bubbly person and actually tries to like influence him to have a good time throughout. It's not even like, come on, you're a stick in the mud. She's like, what can I do to make you feel better? And he's just in this part in the show not open to that. He's there for a reason. It sounds like they're traveling the world trying to find the
Something.
Scott Glenn character, Jim Hollander, and I think Jim Hollander is probably Rick's father.
Yeah.
Whether he's estranged or owes him money, some sort of fatherly connection, maybe an uncle who stole inheritance. She said Rick barely works.
Yeah.
That means he's well enough off that he doesn't have to. So I think there's a relation to and that's not a bold prediction. I think it's pretty obvious, but that's my guess for that. And I do think by the end of the show, Rick and Chelsea are the characters that we as the audience are going to be rooting for. It's White Lotus, so you're never fully rooting for one character. Everyone's got their issues, except you're rooting for Tanya in season 2 for sure. But I would say that's going on with Rick and Chelsea. Fun dynamic. He's not overly mean to her.
No,
You know,
he's kind of aloof.
kind of aloof, kind of just like he's not nasty to her. He's cold, but he's not nasty. That's the distinction I'll make. And I think that leaves time for him to warm up as the show goes on.
Yeah, let's get to some of the hotel staff storyline here. We have Mook and Gaytok, who you mentioned earlier here. Like, it seems like that, like there's some sort of like potential, like like relationship that's trying to set up here, where like Maytok the guard is like trying to like impress Mook, and Mook's like sort of challenging him, like him to do things. So I think like this one we don't have a lot of information on, but I feel like this is sort of one that's to get looped into other storylines pretty quickly.
Yes, this could be one of the murder storylines. Clearly, the Hollander bodyguards who were hitting on Mook have artillery. Like that's already established. You see it on them. The guy took seems a little possessive of Mook. Like he's a little more nebbish. He's a little more, I don't want to say nerdy, but clearly she points out to him that he does not make the salary or have the social status that she could pull in the dating world.
Yeah.
So I do think he keeps calling her my princess, and she's kind of just affirming him, but not being overly committed. I could see him getting a little worked up, a little bit over the top in terms of wanting to possess her. I'm hoping it's more of he's just a nerdy guy who might save the day. There's a lot this route can take us, but it certainly is one of what I think will be the more prominent storylines to the finale.
Yeah, I will say also the premiere, it just may change here. Like less involved from the upper manager of the hotel, whereas the manager, whatnot. I mean, season one, Armand was the star of season one on the hotel front. Season two, like Valentina had a big storyline where she was like had the crush on her coworker and was trying to break up like the separate romance that was going on here. Like there's a little bit with Tritala, like in terms of like her whole thing with like my husband, and like I had like a health crisis and now I found myself here. So I think like not as much here. And Fabian just seems like he's kind of like an underling.
Fabian's an underling. I'm sure he'll be in every episode peppered throughout, usually by her side or maybe dealing with the unruly customers. I see him being a manager, but not a prominent character in the storyline. So yeah, it's nice to take a step back from there and let we don't need the same beats all the time for it to be effective. So it's nice to see that not be as prominent as of right now. Of course, Belinda has a coworker that's kind of showing her the ropes, which the main full trailer kind of hinted at a possible romantic storyline there. So we'll see. But yes, not as much upper management for sure.
Yeah, talk about Belinda since you brought her up here. It turned out like she's on like a 3 month exchange program to like learn some techniques from the spa in Thailand to bring to the Hawaii resort. Learn her son is coming, and we see the son in the flash forward in the premiere. So like Belinda being here is fun because it's a fun twist on bringing a character back. Because I know there was initially rumors that we're gonna try and bring in Connie Britton's character, but that timing didn't work out. I'm glad they settled on this as an option. It gives a different dynamic of returning character.
Yeah, and I believe Natasha Rothwell's involvement was the first announced by Variety for season 3. So right off the bat, it was okay. Here we go. Here's the character who's coming back, and people for the most part were on board. So it's worked nicely. It makes sense. It's not forced. I don't know if hotels of a chain really do an exchange program, but this is television, and that's certainly not jumping the shark too much. So I'm buying it. I'm in to see where it goes.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that, sort of like a corporate thing, like, oh, we want to implement this program across like all our chains, and Thailand has the best one, so we're gonna send people here to learn the Thailand technique and bring it back to their things. We're gonna compensate you for staying there. That's she gets put up in a nice room, like she said, I'm here for a couple of months. You got a great view.
Yeah, no, it totally is believable for sure. And yeah, I'm very intrigued by her storyline. She has a couple comedic moments with the creatures and critters of the island
Yep.
right off the bat, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I will also say here, they use Belinda to sneak in the Survivor cameos. You're aware of all the Survivor cameos Mike White sneaks into the show?
I am not. No.
No, because like every season, Mike White like has cast like people he played Survivor with on the show in different roles. So
Okay.
season one, the bartender Hutch is played by Alec Merlino, who was one of his castmates on Survivor. Season two, the two women at the beginning who are like who are there right before the murder pops up, castmates of his. And in season three, the couple Natasha Rothwell spots at dinner, like they're also Survivor people.
Oh, nice. That's hilarious. Both of them.
Yeah, both of them. Like their names are Carl and Natalie. Like they're like, and that's the ones that she's talking about her sons. Like, oh, there's a black couple here, and they weren't staff.
That's so they played with him on his
Yes,
season.
yes,
Okay, awesome. That's so cool.
yeah. So he sneaks a couple people in every season. So
I did not know that. That's fun.
yeah, it's a fun little factoid because it's not like you saw they're in the co-starring credits at the end of the show also. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah. That's a fun storyline. And now we got to get to the Ratliff family here. This is probably like the most fucked up dynamic in the entire show with between, Timothy is basically being caught running some kind of like money laundering scheme that they like I want to say what was the newspaper that he was talking to? Like was said that had an
Wall
expose
Street
on it?
Journal, maybe.
Yeah, Wall Street Journal.
New
That's right.
York.
Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they're running an expose on it because they're the ones who are fighting against the whole like, oh, take your phones policy. Let's like try and like detox from technology. They're against that. He's got that going on. His wife, Victoria, played Parker Posey, he's hopped up on pills the whole time. He falls asleep at dinner. You got Patrick Schwarzenegger is basically walking human libido. You have yeah, you have the daughter who is doing the thesis, Piper, and then you have poor Lachlan, the youngest, who basically is in a family war because he guys have to both North Carolina and Duke. He has to pick between them. He's got his brother trying to teach him how to be a man. So like there is so much going on in this story.
Yeah, this is the most the most going on, you could say. Um, I mean, Parker Posey is a comedic genius.
Yeah.
Just I mean, Jason Isaacs. I know the accent fluctuates throughout the first episode, but a real strong presence and a really great casting choice for the father of this family. He um he has a good rapport with every other cast member that he's worked with in this show so far. I think I know every one of these people is going to be nominated for an Emmy down the line. He's right now one of the ones I could see getting a nomination sweep across everything. He looks really strong, give or take a couple accent blips here and there, but they're all going to be great. But really good commanding father choice by casting Jason Isaacs. And then the kids, I mean, Patrick Schwarzenegger obviously has the family name, obviously looks like his dad. He's popped up in the Boys spinoff. He's been acting for a while here, but this is going to be his time to shine. This is going to be his chance to be like, I'm on the map. I'm not just a Schwarzenegger. I'm my own actor, and so far, I mean, he's certainly doing that. So it's clearly one of the more bold storyline choices Mike White has done so far. Since we're in spoiler territory, I mean, not since HBO's Game of Thrones have we seen sibling attractions such as this. So
Yeah.
we shall uh, we
Yeah.
shall see how this unfolds. And I wouldn't be surprised if both his older siblings feel about him the way Patrick Schwarzenegger does, at least so far. I would not be surprised by that.
Yeah. We thought the Mossbachers have a crazy family dynamic in season one. This one is going to be way off the charts.
Way more off the charts, and you said the human libido line. He even says to his brother, "It's about the numbers game."
Yeah.
I don't think he cares who, what, where, when, or how, as long as he's
He wants to get in the action. He doesn't want to be sitting on the sidelines.
yes, yes, and clearly Lachlan, the youngest brother, looks up to both him and his sister. So there's definitely a manipulation, a power play here. Patrick Schwarzenegger's character knows his brother is vulnerable and influenced easily. So
Trying to brother.
this is going to be a wild storyline. And here's where I was talking about the opening credits have an image for all the actors.
Yeah.
Sam Nivola, who plays Lachlan's image, is a character lying flat on his back. Now that could mean what he's doing with certain characters later on in the show, or it could mean he's the murder victim at the end. And if we had to do a power rankings of who I think is the top choice to be a character killed off, little Lachlan Ratliff is probably number one for me on the power rankings as a bold prediction.
You think it's like a friendly fire situation, maybe like he and where Jason Isaacs and Walton Goggins get a firefight, he gets caught in the crossfire.
Something like that, yes. Or
Yeah.
um, there becomes a someone sees what's going on, they try to take care of it, he accidentally becomes the victim. Something fishy, but I'm basing that on those two things. His character is vulnerable and weak, and in the opening credits, his character is lying flat on his back in the image of his name in the opening credits.
Yeah, and I do think it's also the other part of the storyline here is the whole sisters thing, like where it's like she's here, their family's here on vacation because she wants to talk to a Buddhist monk for her thesis, and
Mm-hmm.
like you can tell like the Jason Isaacs character is upset about this. Is like why'd she have to pick like this place for her thesis? Why couldn't she have just talked to our like priest of the church back home? And
Right.
then like you have like sort of like the situation where she goes with her brother, with the younger brother Lachlan, to the monastery. It's like I'm not ready to talk to them yet. And then she go like they have the dinner. It's like you stuff the monks like not yet. It's like you mean you flew all the way out here? You didn't arrange this?
Yeah. Yeah. It's he's right, by the way. You got to
100%.
arrange some sort.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's an expensive trip to not be able, potentially not be able to do what you came here to do.
yes, 100%. And the sister is probably the character we've gotten the least amount of info on so far.
Apart
Less
from
screen time. We're still learning a lot about her.
Yeah, like apart from Saxon basically implying that like she's a virgin. That's basically the only other thing we learned about her.
Right. Which may or may not be true.
Yeah.
But, we'll see. And that's another clue as to why I think the younger brother has the same involvement with both his siblings because he gives a look of, I don't know about that. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it makes you there's definitely more to this family than is being implied. And they already gave you a lot.
again, this is one of his wildest choices in White Lotus so far.
Yeah. Definitely a strong choice here. So I think I'm excited here. It's gonna be an 8 episode season, which I think this is one more than we got in season two, with two more we got in season one. So they're slowly getting more White Lotus as we go along here.
I'm down. I'm fine with it. And the lead in Right to Last of Us. Let's go HBO.
Yeah, nothing. I think one of the few things in television right now that stands up as like a must-watch appointment is the HBO Sunday night at 9 o'clock slot. Like that's the one thing you can bank on. It's like something good's going to be here.
Definite appointment television. And kudos to Max for not doing the full seasons in one. There's still some value to the water cooler conversation, especially on social media. People talk about it, people predict, people have a lot of fun. The water cooler is social media. So, as good as some Netflix shows are, I still prefer the week to week drops as opposed to all at once.
Yeah. So final question before we move on to one other topic I'm going to discuss here. Like, how many deaths do you think we actually get in this season? We had infamously just Armand in season one. Season 2 was Tanya and the gays, and now season 3, like I feel like we're gonna get more than one death. We had the body floating up, I think we're gonna have more than one if we're having a firefight.
So I'm gonna limit this number to characters we know because I think there could be like a lot of background characters who just become victims of gunfire. But of the main characters, I'm gonna put the over under at 2.5.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna take the slight over. I'm gonna go three characters that we get to know over the season biting the dust.
yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna also put my money here, like over under 1.5 members of the Ratliff family.
I'll take the under.
Yeah. I think we're definitely getting one in the Ratliff family. I feel like that's like a lock.
I agree. And who would you guess?
Like, I think it's going to be one of the sons. I think Jason I is going to end up in prison. Let's shift gears here real quick. Let's talk about another show we love here. The Traitors season 3 winding down here. A lot of fun with this season. And like, I feel like, Alan, people who have not watched The Traitors really should.
They should. And you know what? The best prep for watching Traders is to watch every single reality show on television. So like if you and that's what's also fun is there's a little bit of so the Bravo community on social media is all in on Traders. The reality competition show on social media, all in on Traders. And the funniest thing I saw someone say was you take some of the most strategic cutthroat players at some of the hardest reality competition shows and you tell them to play the same game as the Bravo Housewives, it's going to make for good television. Like,
A lot of mess.
yeah, a lot of mess. And so this season has been fantastic. You've got the worst trader to ever play the game still alive in the game in Danielle. And
Yeah.
you've got an under the radar best trader to ever play the game, Carolyn. And they are going at each other in what can only be described as the most like wild, reckless play that is going semi under the radar because other characters are just a little bit more prominent.
Tom
But
Sandoval.
Tom Sandoval, who, say what you will about the man from Vanderpump Rules, is the comedic genius of this season unintentionally. Uh, I've seen a lot of people saying they're rooting for him, ironically, but he's by some way somehow he's become the most entertaining character on the show. So I hope he's not going anywhere anytime soon. And we're at a part in the show where he's probably going to make the finale.
Yeah,
So yeah, he's been a lot of fun. There's been Boston Rob, and I thought Derek played a great game in his limited time. If we're shouting out the Big Brother people, Brittany Haynes is probably not long for this game, but it's been a lot of fun, a great cast. As a Big Brother person, I know all the Big Brother players, and you get to know some of these Survivor players that I had no idea who they were. And I will say, I am going to watch the new season of Survivor because of Traders, because of, just wanting to get to know these people more and more. So,
hey,
yeah, so I'm going to be on board.
yeah, I gotta say here, like, it's fun, especially as me who knows the background, especially the Survivor people, like seeing like the TikTok community discover who Boston Rob is hilarious because it's essentially,
World's colliding.
yeah, because like they go back, like, oh my God, he was on Survivor like in 2004 and he met his wife on there and he was hot. And like that's like all I see on TikTok.
I've seen a lot of that too. I mean, what's funny about Boston Rob is he's got this like huge reputation, but his voice is so like one note. Like he's
Yeah.
even keel. He doesn't get loud. He's just like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
Why would I kill Derek? Why would I frame myself? It doesn't make any sense. Like he's not loud.
Very calm.
He's very calm. He's intimidating.
Yeah, it is intimidating here. And you watch him on this show. I mean, he plays the same game on this show. He's on Survivor 6 times. He did on Deal or No Deal Island the one season he was there. Like he plays the same game every time. And he said it, I think in both places, like if they were smart, they'd get rid of me right away, but they don't. They never do.
Well, they got rid of him pretty early here, but it took a minute to
And I
get
mean,
there.
he should have like I mean, the second that like I forget after Wes had the Bob the drag queen thought out there, that should have been the end of Boston Rob. He survived 3 roundtables after that, which is a big credit to him.
It is. It's crazy, but yeah, it's a great cast. It's a great show. It's a lot of fun. The only critique which I've seen is that the middle segment, the competition really doesn't matter. Like it needs to matter more than prize money because we as an audience don't care if these celebrities win the full prize money.
Yeah.
Like they need to figure out that middle segment. But to counterpoint that, this season's middle segments have mattered because they've played into the actual trader game.
Yeah, because they throw
You
the
know,
shields in there now. So
the shields are important. The shields are way more important than the prize money.
yeah,
So it's just, but the middle segments, like Daniel Reyes played one of the worst middle segment games I've ever seen someone play in that riddles one in the church.
yeah, which she didn't save herself.
Every read was wrong. Every guess was wrong. Her shaking and crying is becoming too much, and I'm embarrassed for the Big Brother community with the way she's played.
The
But
Big Brothers
uh,
as a whole have not done well as traders.
no, Dan Giesling, my favorite Big Brother player of all time, was a terrible trader. You know,
Cody in season one was not great either.
Cody wasn't good. So it's we need a better showing from them next year. And my guess of who they'll bring on is Taylor Hale. I feel like is inevitable on
Yeah.
traders as a Big Brother player. And then other than that, I'm excited to see where they go. They've done a lot of older Big Brother players to this point.
They go for the legends.
They go for the legends, which makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think, are there any legends that really, really, Donnie Thompson would be fun, but I don't see it happening.
Dr. Will never do it.
Dr. Will had a cameo last season anyway. Um,
It's like he's not.
Obviously,
Yeah.
Boogie Mike's off the table,
Yeah.
so Mike
Yeah.
Boogie. But I'm interested to see. But I do think Taylor Hale is inevitable in this game. She's got the perfect temperament. She knows how to do it. I could see her coming as soon as possible.
I think you got to look at for the Big Brother people. You look at like the Reindeer Games cast and see who they could pull off of there because like that's sort of like a. I know like if Xavier gets out of his contract, whatever show he did, I could see him being in the mix there. Nicole Franzel, I feel like could be one they look at. Like those people, I could see them like going towards next.
Yeah, like Nicole and Taylor could be a good duo to bring on the show next year.
Yeah, and like Josh from considering his challenge ties, also I think would be another one they could look at.
Josh would be really good on traders. I gotta say.
Yeah, and I do love also like the conflict between like these gamers and like these people like the housewives who have like no idea what like these people are. Like I think it's a lot of fun with that dynamic here. And like Alan Cumming is the best host for the show because like he is so like flippant these contestants and like I remember there was the scene early in the season when like they did the whole thing where the trace with three people in the coffin, the shortlist candidates, the murder, and like Tom Sandoval just standing there, his mouth was like, "Come on, Tom, go now, like go home."
He had a great one with Ivar this past week where he's like, Ivar, what are you doing? Like it was a lot of fun. Alan Cumming's the best, and it's just it's a great fun hour. The round tables are always exciting. Like
Yeah.
it's never not exciting. So yeah, it's a great show. Highly recommend to those who haven't watched. And as a WWE super fan, screw job for Nikki Bella this season. I mean,
She got
Chriselle's one of the worst faithful I've ever seen,
oh,
and just like,
she got doomed by the coffin thing because that whole theory everybody had, oh, one of the traitors put themselves in the coffin, and then once Jeremy got murdered, like, okay, we have to get rid of these two because like they're one of them's probably a traitor.
yep. And the if Boston Rob survived another week and that theory got xed out, it might have helped him in the cage theory because it was the same theory. So that and this past week with the what was Alan Cumming wearing by Sam was a great little, and the way they edited it made you feel like Carolyn couldn't get out of it, but then they were just like, all right, she's good, and I was like,
That's,
what?
well, that's
But
also
like,
that was also a great Tom Sandoval because Tom Sandoval ruined it.
yes, he did. He is, whoever's idea was to put, obviously coming into this season, he was the biggest name they got just based on how relevant he is to pop culture right now with the Ariana Madix scandal. He is the reality show public enemy number one. And the fact that they got him was big news. So the fact that he's playing this like comedic goofball who everyone on the show hates or thinks is an idiot is probably a better assessment. It's made for great television.
Yeah, I was definitely watching your season four possibilities here, and it's got a couple more seasons here. Like, who are people you want to see?
So I will say, like, we mentioned some of the Big Brother people. Those aren't necessarily who I'd want to see, but any Big Brother people I'm fine with. We've already got Janelle and Dan Giesling and Derek and some really, really strong Big Brother people. Obviously, I'm not in the Survivor or Challenge world. But you mentioned Josh, he'd be good. I'm a big Tyler Crispin fan, although he was not very good on BB All Stars. He just had a baby. He might be a good addition. But I also think they should possibly do a Traders All Star season at some point here
You
of
got
some of
you
the
got
players.
you got time for that.
We got time for that, but I'd like to see like Dan get another shot, although he might not make it. I'd like to see some players really like John from last season. Loved John.
Yeah.
Like, let's get John back in there. But reality show people. I mean, the only Housewives our family household really watches is Miami, and there, there's Adriana from that show would be a fun addition. Not sure how she'd play the game, but other than that, I'm pretty open to getting to know and meet the people who have come on. So I really don't have any bias or hope. I'm ready for whoever comes on. How about yourself?
Yeah, I think there are a couple easy ones I think you can pull from. I think the one we missed, I think is a lock. Frankie Grande is going to do it at some point.
Fair point. Fair
I
point.
was just the big brother fact that he's Ariana Grande's brother is an easy like invite into the castle.
Yeah, and speaking of brothers, Dylan's been a nice addition to this season. I
Oh,
really
that front's
thought
fun.
he was going to be this season's Pete, but
Yeah,
it didn't kind of work out that way. He's kind of been more of the Bergie now,
yeah,
but he's been a nice guy. He seems like a great person, so he's been a welcome addition. You nailed it. Frankie's going to be on. Like at some point, Frankie will be on.
yeah. Frankie's going to be on the show for sure, and like you could dip into that celebrity Big Brother well too. I mean, we had Ryan Lochte in season one, and he was great when he was there. Like, you tell me like a Carson Kressley wouldn't be fun in the castle?
Tom Green.
Tom Green, Ross Matthews, like people like that would be a lot of fun.
They would be. Those are some really, really strong picks.
Yeah, on the Survivor front, there's a lot of big names they could go to. They want to go with the legend front, or they could go like big characters. I think like I'll throw out like Tyson from Winners at War, like and like he won a season. He's a great character. Like the guy coach is hilarious. Like there's a lot of big names that can go that one. Really want to go that way.
Awesome. And back to Frankie Grande for a second. I think one of the best Big Brother players of all time.
Yeah.
Uh, Vanessa Russo could be an interesting choice from Big Brother, but I'm really limiting my scope here to Big Brother. But either way, it's going to be great.
I trust them. And like in fact, they pulled Carolyn was on one of the most recent seasons of Survivor. He was a great player. I was like impressed. Like, oh, like let's go with the legend. They go with a modern player who's great TV, and then making her a traitor was like chef's kiss.
She's, I mean, I could see her winning. I could just see her winning.
Yeah, I know you said potentially best traitor of all time. Like Cerie's still out there, and I give Cerie, and so, yeah, I know she played against half normies, but Cerie was showed you how you should play this game. It's very hard to duplicate.
She's the best traitor player ever to this point.
Yeah,
So yes,
and you saw her on Big Brother. You didn't even see her Survivor legendary status. So
she's a reality. She's working her way towards like the reality competition Mount Rushmore at this point.
yeah, for sure. And Alan, thanks a lot of time. Really appreciate it. Before I let you go, anything else? Want to do a social media plug? Anything else you want to shout out?
I just want to shout out SNL 50. I'm a diehard SNL fan, and that show was, I went in wanting to have a good time and see some people, and that's exactly what happened. It was a bundle of fun, and if you're a harsh critic of it, I'm sorry you didn't watch it with a lighter lens on. It was a blast, and I just want to say the highlight for me was the Adam Sandler song. As me, who Norm Macdonald is one of my all-time favorites. Just the shout out in that song and throughout the night. Having Nicholson introduce Sandler, just like a really, really entertaining 3 hours. And if you haven't gone back and watched it, the replays on Peacock, just give it a shot. If you loved SNL, it's just really worth watching.
Absolutely, Alan. People on follow social media, I can do that.
So social media, I gotta say, Mike, I deleted Twitter/X. I
You're off of
got
there.
rid of it. I found it to be a little bit too negative of a space, and I was doom scrolling, and I just decided to take that out of my life. So right now, I'm not really on social media, but if anyone needs to get to me, they can go through you, my friend. So,
Yeah,
uh,
you can always
yeah,
take blue sky moves. He's more positive over there.
maybe I'll consider going to Blue Sky. I have heard some good things.